Uh-oh. We good? Yes? Yes. Okay, don't die. Don't die, camera. Don't die. Okay, hopefully the game audio is occurring. Sure doesn't look like it. I hope you work on game audio. Oh shit, the delay is not enough. Oh, that's not gonna work. That'll be super, super annoying. Oh, fucking hell, why isn't the game audio working? Streaming so goddamn hard. Properties. Oh my fucking god, dude. What did I do? What did I do to you? What did I do to you? How did I hurt you? OBS, answer my question. How come you can never... I wish I could immerse you, Squishy Puff Dave. This is kind of a bonus episode because I was excited about this game. But of course, I can't get OBS to just... I just can't get OBS to see the audio of the game. Senpai. Okay. Oh, there is audio. It's just really quiet. I heard it think okay. I need to pause that because I'm going crazy. Alright, so let's just crank this shit out of the desktop audio. I'm assuming it's one of them. So it is tragic. It's incredibly tragic. Okay. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna crank the gain on like everything. Because why not? I have no other answer to this question. Audio output capture is maxed at 10 dB. Oh, no, it's not. Okay. All right, so one of them is there's like 5 different audio sources. One of them is going to work. All right, here we go. So this is DEATHLOOP. This falls in the Immersive Sim category. Immersive Sims are interesting because they're like, I don't know exactly where they differ from RPG, but I know that they are different, right? So like Dishonored and Dishonored 2 and Thief and some of my favorite games are actually Immersive Sims, Deus Ex. All of those games are considered Immersive Sim, whereas Cyberpunk 2077 and Dragon Age and those are considered RPGs. And so it's interesting because I'm not entirely sure what the Immersive Sim is, where it differs. Because like I would also categorize. I think this is part of the reason why the Elder Scrolls games are so beloved, because they're like RPGs and immersive sims. And so I wonder if maybe the reason, like what the defining factor of an immersive sim is that like the world seems to exist independently of the player, whereas the RPG is kind of like a story-driven, stat-based game. So I started Deathloop. I got about 5 minutes in and I was like, I should be streaming this. So RPG equals player-driven, immersive sim equals world-driven. Yeah, something like that, right? Because like I would consider, for example, Hitman, the Hitman series, I would consider that to be some kind of immersive sim. Because like, and I love the Hitman games, because like the idea behind Hitman is to use the environment to your advantage, right? So like you have to think about how you're going to corral two people into the same room so that you can kill them. Stuff like that, right? And Arcane Studios, those who made Deathloop, they made the Dishonored games, which are considered like the best immersive sims ever. And this is already looking pretty sweet, I would say. The protagonist is fun. Colt. But yeah, you're Colt. You wake up on like this like cold ass beach. And you're given a gun and told to... Why does it try to keep giving me ammo? I have... Like, does it expect me to just shoot? This is the first enemies I've seen. Press T to tag an enemy, marking them on your screen with an indicator of the type of weapon they carry. Okay, with an indicator of the type of weapon they carry. Keep holding T to focus, which reveals more about your enemies, such as their combat tendencies, their awareness, and hints as to what kind of loot they might be carrying. So I don't think this is particularly useful in the beginning of the game, but I can imagine that this gets quite good. Eternalists with particularly potent gear visibly radiate power. Use focus to learn more about them. Eternalists. So if I do this, sword swinging Street Fighter, unaware of your presence, basic loadout. Butcher in training, waiting for something to happen, standard kit. Cheap aggressive bastard, waiting for something to happen, standard kit. Another snitch asshole. Okay. Oh, jeez. Okay, good enough. Hackable signal. Oh shit, I forgot. Unjam it. Alarms and scouts. The Eternalist scouts, the ones with bright golden stripe painted on their body, can trigger Black Reef's alarm system with their handheld radios. When this happens, hostile reinforcements rush to your position, evade the reinforcements, or stand and fight. The choice is yours. You can also hack a scout's radio to slow their call for help. We dated, didn't we? So I think one of the interesting things about this game, yeah, this is very much in medias res, right? Where the audience is sort of dropped into the world midway through an ongoing conflict, right? Now, in medias res is like, it's kind of an immediate conflict within medias res. So like, in medias res is like the beginning of the. Hang on, Juliana, I'm explaining something. In the second Star Wars movie reboot, the second in the reboot trilogy, not the prequels, the J.J. Abrams trilogy, except for the second one is Rian Johnson. When the movie begins, and they're like already, going in for the attack order. I can't remember everything about that movie, but the fact that movie just kind of begins with a battle is what would be considered in medias res. So in a way, the protagonist is kind of dropped into the narrative in medias res because he doesn't even remember what's going on. But I really like him so far. He's very funny. Yeah, okay, Juliana. But Juliana, I think, is one of the more interesting concepts in this game that I've come across. Like, that she can be controlled by a human player is fascinating to me, and also terrifying at the same time. Oh, this is a dash. I didn't know that. Okay, so I must have to go this way. No? Oh, it says peak, but I thought that you can't see it because it's on the right side of my screen, on the underneath my talking. Yep, that's me. You might be wondering how I got here. Oh, you're inspired by the Nier series for it. Interesting. Yeah. You should watch Yoko Taro's GDC talk on what the fuck am I doing? On how he goes about making games. It's very interesting. It's a very I'm stupid. It's a very interesting interview. Well, not interview, presentation that he does where he talks about how he writes stories backward. It's amazing. Oh, you have seen them all. Okay. Fair enough. Swapping guns. 2, 3, and 4 to switch firearms. Scroll quickly. Hold 5 to open the main hand equipment wheel. Select the... What? Okay, so I see. It's a different button. Well, I'll just be switching with 1, 2, and 3. These are identical. Oh, cool. Oh, I see. Got it. Health station. Haha. I am healed. I watched all of Taro's GDC talks. I really like him. He is a very, very cool guy. Okay, one of the things I'm actually really appreciative of, and I'm excited to finally break this habit, is I don't need to walk around every single room to pick up a bunch of fucking trinkets. I hate doing that in Immersive Sims. It's one of my least favorite things. It's like, pick up this, can of food, dog food, glass ashtray. I don't want to pick up any of those things. None of them. But the game makes me feel like I should. And then you get to the end of the game and it's like, congratulations, you picked up 657 ashtrays and didn't use a single one for anything. Ugh. See, I can't even pick this candy up. Great. Thank you. Break the loop. Yeah, I really like this kind of 60s spy aesthetic they got going in this game. Ooh. It's interesting to me that shift is a dash. You got it. Loop number, don't know, don't care. That nightmare about his lucky jacket when poked mumbles motherfucker land. Wakes up with his sand in his mouth. Tries to drink from the bottles. Gross. Rolls over, goes back to sleep. Nearly throws up, sings that ridiculous sea shanty, hallucinates, kills Mikhail while he's off for his morning leak. Briefly thinks I'm his mom. Reads this note, high cold. Interesting. So I can tell you right now that I'm getting some strong addiction narrative vibes from this. Jump. That's very interesting. That's very interesting. Definitely getting strong addiction vibes, and it was interesting that that Juliana said, "What the fuck?" Like that was very much a, you know, an intended line. Break the loop. Blah blah blah. The day is quick. Be quicker. Escape Black Reef. Got it. Okay. Well, this. What? Okay, I'm gonna need that. So annoying. Just let me carry thousands of rounds. Be your best self. Exemplar personal trinket. Exemplar. I wonder if that was Take Me. If that was like the wrote it on Black Reef. On the postcard. On the postcard. Oh, on the postcard. From Colt. Second floor, Dorsey Square, up Dom 4075. The Stray lacks separate charge is a versatile explosive with 3 configurations: grenade, proximity charge, and trip mine. Oh, cool. Equip your charges and cycle their modes by pressing G or hold G to select one of these specific modes. Grenades, press blank to throw with a charge or hold to cook it before releasing to throw. Proximity charge. I'm sold. The dialogue has been good so far. Feels like motivated sassiness rather than indiscriminate sassiness. Yeah, no, it feels quite inspired actually. Like it actually feels like they weren't just kind of writing to make the game. It feels like they genuinely had the story. You know what I mean? Like they had the whole story gone or done, and then they made the game with it. At least they. You know, it's probably not actually true. They probably were making it in tandem and then retrofitted and, you know, edited as they went along, because audio is like the last thing you do when you make a game. So yeah, it does feel quite inspired in its narrative design, and I like the characters, which is rare. I almost never like the characters. I don't even like Alloy. I think Alloy is like super boring in that one game that she's in, and she's like, you know, supposed to be like the likable character, and I just she's so generic. Design wise, she's not. She's like an incredible looking model, like the character model, but like the character design, not really. Oh, cool, machete. The voice actor for Cole is awesome. Generic characters are the bane of modern writing. I cannot agree with you more. It's like not possible. In my MFA, it was the worst. I mean, it was like characters with no faults, but were sad, would then go through the short story getting sadder. Or they were bad people, and then they learned a lesson at the end, right? Reprise. This mysterious piece of metal seems to belong to you. A slab. It grants you reprise ability, which will return you to life after you die, but only twice. Dying a third time will end the current loop. You'll wake up in the morning of the subsequent loop, bereft of equipment collected during the loop before. After returning via reprise, you're almost invisible for a few seconds. Use this opportunity to get out of harm's way. The number of times you can return with reprise resets when traveling between districts. Oh, okay. That's a key piece of information I almost didn't read. I'm too perfect. It's so tragic that I do not have a tragic flaw. Yes. I think part of it is like a lot of the journeyman writers that were in the master's program, just they were afraid that if their characters were morally corrupt in some capacity, that it then meant that they themselves were morally corrupt. And this is a huge problem in fiction. Those who can figure out how to get past this problem go on to be good fiction writers. Those who cannot, never do. That doesn't make a lot of sense. No, it doesn't. You survived. You've got a gun. Let's see. Knowledge discovered. Double jump in midair. A classic maneuver. A classic maneuver. Welcome to Deathloop. Here are a few tips to get you started. Leads. Track the information you have found that will further Colt's goal of breaking the loop. Check out the leads you've uncovered. Move the cursor and press blink to select this. Find my updam flat. My mail goes to an address in updam. I'm allowed to open my own mail even if I don't know who I am, right? I'm trying to think of a narrative that works Well, I'm trying. Usually, I don't really like time narratives, but so far this one isn't bothering me. Like time loop narratives. But I really liked. What's that one space game called that I forget the name of now? Where the universe is stuck in a time loop. Outer Wilds. Outer Wilds, and I'm liking this one too. It's dangerous out there. You'll want to make sure that you're carrying best weapons and items. Use your cursor to select this. These are slots for slabs, strange objects that provide potent. Currently, you have your prize, Cole's personal slab, which gives him a second and third chance after dying. Kill visionaries and swipe their slabs. Equip and upgrade them here. Kill visionaries and swipe their slabs. Trinkets are small devices that can provide you with big boosts. Select a trinket. Spring healed. Escape. Once you've collected more weapons, you can choose them among here. Many trinkets modify your guns. Highlighting your limp. Modify with a trinket. Shock absorber. Slightly okay. I kind of wish it would change the design of the gun. I guess it doesn't really matter, but... Interesting. Yes, they can definitely force your hand. Well, because at some point, and this is the problem, I think this is one of the reasons why, what's that movie called? Primer? I think this is one of the reasons why Primer ended up being such an interesting film, because in almost all time loop narratives, at some point the audience is going to go, wait, how is that possible? Like, this narrative doesn't make sense. Why wouldn't he just do this if he already knew that it was going to be that, you know what I mean? Where am I? Well, whatever. Death died here. These are interesting too. These kind of like floating words. If at first you don't succeed, watch yourself out there. Enemies and obstacles on Black Reef can be dealt with in a variety of ways. Combat, evasion, stealth, and trickery are all valid approaches. Quietly wait for a conversation to finish in order to isolate your enemies and potentially pick up new information, set traps, and use noise to lure your enemies to them. Or go in guns blazing, but be ready to deal with possible reinforcements. And logically consistent ones aren't very dramatic. Yeah, right. So, like, to be honest, most dramatically effective time travel stories have nonsensical logic. Agreed, yeah. Well, and that's why, like, so, like, for Looper, for example, in Looper, there's a great moment where they're trying to figure out, or the protagonist is trying to figure out how the time travel works, and he's talking to his older self, and his older self, played by Bruce Willis, is just like, look, man, we can talk about it and bend these little straws and make a diagram and trying to explain how time travel works, but it doesn't matter. And that's ultimately the story saying, like, look, don't try and answer this question there, because it's nonsensical. The point of the time travel story is not to purport the time travel as possible. The point of the time travel story is to explore character dynamics through time travel, right? So if you could go back in time, right? That's why I said I'm getting strong addiction vibes off of this, because the game is like break the loop, and then all like 15 of those little things on that checklist of things that Colt has done with his day have been about, like, alcoholism, basically addiction and alcoholism. So I get the sense that this game is very much about Colt being an addict of some kind. 1 second, I got a message. have a bed coming today. I always play these games so, like, skittish. Huh. I think this was another way that I could have come through. Yeah. That's interesting. I think time is kind of always passing. That's interesting. Why is this stuff painted like that so vibrantly? The best speculative fiction becomes dramatic because of the inherent conflicts and ideas. Yes. Yeah, I've heard before. I don't know if I'd necessarily agree with this, but I've heard that. I've heard literary writers call. What the fuck? It's got to be some kind of anomaly. I've read that, or no, heard from literary fiction writers, that science fiction is the fiction of ideas, and while I'm not entirely sure I agree with that. Come again about what? Okay, I'm assuming that's a camera. That when it sees me, I get in trouble. Can everyone read these? No. All about sci-fi. Yeah, it's just it's interesting. Like so one of my professors, not Pinckney, the other one, while I was in university, or while I was in the master's program, said science fiction is the fiction of ideas, because she's like a literary fiction writer, and literary fiction writers think that they are better than genre fiction writers, and so she was like trying to like kind of pat on the head sci-fi writers. She's like, you have great ideas. You don't tell good stories, but you have great ideas, right? And so it's interesting because on the one hand, yes, it is true that I think science fiction tends to have interesting concepts and ideas that it's working through. I don't think that necessarily means that it's not good storytelling as well, if that makes sense. I haven't seen Primer, but I did see Upstream Color, and that really changed my perspective on what science fiction even is. Yeah, absolutely. I think sci-fi is good at exploring very specific aspects of human nature. Oh, well, I think ideas are crucial for stories. Yeah, I mean, yeah, absolutely. You need to have good ideas for good stories in general. Yeah, sci-fi is good at exploring that stuff, but sci-fi is... the point I'm trying to make is that a good story is a good story is a good story, right? A good story is not one that has spaceships, nor is it one that doesn't have spaceships. A good story is one that has a good character arc and good internal structure to its narrative, right? Good setups and payoffs. Like, that's what makes a good story. And so her comment that sci-fi is the fiction of ideas is saying, ultimately it's derogatory, and it's saying that, well, you're so good at talking about that weird physics problem, you nerd. But but you're not very good at telling stories. So your character needs to be sad, living in New York, and has a gay friend, and then it's a good story. You know what I mean? And so, and that's just nonsensical. It's a nonsensical thing to say, in my opinion. Philip K. Dick made me cry. Yeah, yeah. What's his name? Ray Bradbury. One of his short stories made me cry. It's about a little girl who wants to see the sun, because their spaceship is flying by the sun, and then the mean kids at the space daycare shove her in a closet. And it's like, oh my God, that story just, it killed me, man. It killed me. And I was like 27 when I first read that story. It's so good. I love Ray Bradbury, though. Ray Bradbury's like one of my favorites ever. I love Ray Bradbury. She loved the view. Except I was in 7th grade, I think. Well, you should read it again now that you're not in 7th grade, because it goes through. What? Oh, she loved the view. I thought it said something window. Okay, how do I get in? This is always what happens in these games, is I try to do the right thing, and then I jump off the roof, and then somebody sees me. Bullets don't cost a thing. I bet I can... Oh no, never mind. Okay, well, I'm not going that way. What time is your placing? I think it was The Long Rain. The story with the little girl. Oh, oops. Every time. Every single time. You're dead. It happens every time. Oh, cool. New gun. I go, okay, I'm going to do this stealthy and right. Oh, well, there you go. And then I turn a corner, and there's 3 guys looking at me, and they go, kill him. And I'm like, oh, right. Handwritten note, never give up, Leela. Temporary group channel morning. Nah. Let's see. Cult. You still up listening to a record, nervous about midnight. It'll be fine. I've done it before. Remember, a badass captain. Just got back from the complex. Yeah, walk all the way out there through your tunnels. You know we have cars, right? Checked out the control center. Pretty cool, right? You did good work with limited resources. I'm impressed. Is that a compliment? An actual genuine compliment from you? I compliment people all the time, every second, every day. Pretty amazing that despite all this infrastructure, the entire loop was run from that control room. Too much power and too few hands. Really just one person's hand. I'm not following. Never mind. Eon is doing things the right way. We'll all find what we're looking for. Good night, Juliana. Good night, Colt. Why would he do an ass backwards thing like that? On his, the why doesn't matter. He's a danger to us all, so be smart, or at least try. Screw you, Juliana, who made you head of security. Cry it out, Alexis. Where's the other half of your brain, ass crap? I got plans for it. The adults are speaking. Just protect yourselves, whatever happens, we must survive. Shouldn't We be actively hunting him, trapping him, studying him. Oh, come on, it's just Colt. It's Colt, for fuck's sake. The LPP remains our salvation. Colt sees these words gleaming against lit black. It's like a surprisingly well-written sentence from this Fia Feelgood. Colt sees these words gleaming against lit black. So these, I'm assuming she's referencing the words. If Fia is a girl, not for long. Removed from the group channel. What? Dual wielding. Colt can use weapons in both hands. You gain firepower but lose the ability to aim down sights. Nail gun. What? This is why you shouldn't open junk mail. Okay. You're finished in Updam for now. Your next stop, the complex. You can continue to explore Updam or head for the exit. You have plenty of opportunities to return to Updam later, so don't feel like you have to explore every nook and cranny at this moment. Thanks for letting me know. I appreciate that, actually. If you die before you leave this district, Colt will restart the loop, losing any weapons or trinkets you've collected since entering Updam. However, Colt's learned what he needed to know here, so you'll immediately progress to the next location of your goal, the complex. Okay, I'm out of here. So don't open junk mail. Got it. Okay, so far this game is really fucking cool. I'm not gonna lie. Ooh. Let's take the back way. I wanted to get my rifle out. Okay, now we're back here. I didn't go through that door. I went through the other one. Oh, you can autofill it. That's... Thanks. There's a lot of like quality of life things that I'm really enjoying so far. Yeah, let's blow this joint. I am not much one to explore every nook and cranny. That's not something I like to do. There might be an off button for this nightmare. Time to get pushing. Time to get pushing. It's interesting that it's like part roguelike. But not really, I don't think. Oh, so time passes whenever you leave an area. Black Reef's districts change over the day. Here you can review the opportunities and secrets you've discovered in this district during this specific time period. You can also learn more about any vulnerable visionary who frequents the area. Select any objective with a diamond icon to track it with a marker. Just imagine the development of this game. You know what I mean? Like, I'm assuming there's a visionary in Updam, and the game is like, it's not pertinent for them to kill this visionary right now. The only thing they need to learn there is maybe don't open junk mail and some stuff about a story and some stuff about story, right? And how to traverse environment, and but there's probably a visionary there. It's just like, Just the implications of design are so crazy to me. That's why I want to write video games so damn bad. Let's see. Select any objective with a diamond to track it with a marker. Discoveries are organized into the time periods and districts to which they apply. I'm just wondering why Colt is now remembering them. I'm assuming there's an explanation for it, but like, presumably Colt's been doing this for however long, he's been doing it. But why now? Why now is he remembering this stuff, right? It's kind of the question of Dark Souls. Like, why is this the one who awoke, and is the savior? Why is this the one that that even when they die, they come back to life, right? And continue to fight for good. Actually, never mind. The question has already been answered in my mind as I've been saying it. God damn it, Miyazaki. So brilliant. From Software games. They're just brilliant. Because the player doesn't give up, right? The NPCs that you fight in the game, they've all given up, but you haven't given up, right? So it puts all of that onus on you, which is why those games are just so awesome. Anyway, I'm gonna make a cup of coffee real quick. So I will be right back. Sorry. It was probably very loud. Whatever, I'll just leave it up. Also, sorry if a garbage truck drives by or something. Hi, chat. Ahoy. I guess I'm in charge now. Fish. Yeah. You know, you leave for 1 minute and the fish take over. That's what I always say. I've been saying it since high school. You leave for 1 minute and the fish take over. Back on the topic of not liking most video game characters, got a favorite video game character? Good question. Good question. Favorite video game character? God, I might have to look through my library. Okay. So here's part of the. Here's a question. Does the video game character Guybrush Threepwood? Hang on. I don't know what that is. Guybrush. Wow, it's the first thing that comes up. Oh, yeah, Monkey Island. Duh. Yeah. Okay. Oh, thank you for the follow, Rinzai. He's a shining beacon of passion, of passive aggression. So here's the problem. I've never played that. I will play it. Don't freak out. It's okay. I will play it. I will definitely play it. Especially because I keep hearing such good things about it. Like I've always known that it was like considered kind of a Hallmark game, but like I never really. It was always one of those games that was like in the old, you know, it's like, oh, that's the old games, right? I like the third one best. Okay. Same. Rufus from Deponia. Yeah, adventure games are a strange breed, right? Have you guys ever played the Shiva? It's like $5 on Steam. No, not me. The Shiva is a very interesting adventure game. I think it's from the guy who went on to make like Unavowed, and some other stuff, but Daxter 2 from Jak and Daxter, I'm assuming. But the Shiva is very interesting. It's actually super cool. You can play it in like an evening. It's not very long. But it's just you play as this rabbi, and I think it's one of your congregation has been killed, and so you go on this like interesting little like journey through I can't remember, I think it's in New York, and you have to like solve the mystery. Yeah, it's a detective game, but you're a rabbi. And it sounds like it's a joke, but it's not. Like the game is, I mean, the game is a little bit tongue in cheek, but like it takes itself seriously, and the themes are relatively heavy. It's not like you know, stereotypical like making fun of Jews. It's like it's kind of like the self-awareness, like that interesting Jewish mentality, like Larry David style or Jerry Seinfeld style, where it's like it's aware of the idiosyncrasies of Judeo culture, and it's cool. It's a really good game. I went in thinking like I will turn this game off in 10 minutes, and then I played through the entire game in one night. But my question. So here's my question about video game characters. Do they have to be like a named character? Or can they be like... Because this is the interesting thing about games, is that almost all games have like two protagonists, right? Like there's the named kind of narrative protagonist, and then there's the player. And one is like authored, the first one is authored, and the second one is like emergent, right? And so it's kind of hard to distinguish because I don't like Nathan Drake, for example. I think Nathan Drake is like a really uninteresting character. And I think everything that they did to make him interesting made him worse. I thought Drake was at his best in the first game when he was basically Indiana Jones with no explanation. But like, I want a live action adaptation of Half-Life where Gordon Freeman is constantly spinning around, crouching, and swinging his crowbar. Because like, so to continue on this, to continue on this question of like video game characters and which are my favorite, I know that and this is kind of why I was asking the question. I love Kim Kitsuragi. I love that character. I think he is awesome. I think everything about that character is great. How he's written, the design, his opinions, his 2B because she's hot. Yeah, that doesn't apply to me. Kim Kitsuragi is an incredible character. So is Harry Dubois. But Harry Dubois is the other side, where Harry Dubois is ultimately the player, right? Like, it's the player through the lens of Harry. And that's like... It's like a... You know, like, sparkling water? In that case, Sonic. You know, sparkling water, like flavored sparkling water, like raspberry, whatever, raspberry sparkling water. Video game characters are like Geralt or the protagonist in Disco Elysium. The raspberry is Geralt. And the water is the player, right? It's like Geralt flavored player. Does that make sense? So that's why I'm wondering, because I think you are Sonic flavored Rinzai. That's true. It makes perfect sense. So that's why I asked this question, because like one of my favorite video game characters ever is Bradley from some old ass military game that I played called Conflict Desert Storm with my brother. I love that character, even though he's not like written at all, but like I've inhabited that character so many times. I've been the leader of like a military squad back, because when I was a kid I was a huge military buff. I loved guns and military, and I've maybe fired a total of 7 real guns in my whole life. So good analogy. Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, that's actually like the first time I've tried to put it into words, where I've talked around it a bunch of times, but I've never really thought of like the Geralt flavored player. And because if the answer to this question is yes, like unauthored protagonists are allowed, then I have to go with every From Software protagonist, because I don't think there's a better designed player character in games. I don't know if it exists. It's hard for me to think about one, just because like they're perfect. Like the more I think about From Software games, the more I realize how genius they are. Like every time I think about them, because they just keep getting deeper, and their explanations for things keep getting more concrete. Like that, and that never happens in games. Whenever I think about the nature between player and game and story and player. Like whenever I think about that stuff in games, it starts to fall apart, right? So I have to not think about it. But when I think about From Software games, it just gets better. Like there is no, they just don't get wrong. They don't get wronger. It's so weird. But when it comes to authored characters, Kim, for sure, Kim. Um, Geralt. Shit. 1 second. Never mind. I was gonna show my Steam library, but it's a little embarrassing, so I'm not going to. Totally agree about Kim. Yeah, I mean he's just amazing. He's just amazing. Like I think that when you've hit on a really good character when people talk like years after your game has come out, like, yeah, I played the game because I just didn't want to disappoint Kim, right? Which I'm pretty sure is something you said, Dave. Like you said that not a vast majority of the things you did is in order to not disappoint Kim, right? Which is, I mean, I did a lot of the same stuff too, because it's just, you don't want to disappoint him. He's a really well-written character, but he's also like incredibly kind. He's like he can be an asshole, but he is loyal and he sees something in you, right? The player, and the game is written in such a way that like you identify with Harry, even though you think he is a total fucking raving lunatic, right? And so when Kim like stands up for you / the player character, it's like, God, I love you, Kim. You're such a good guy. You've been playing House Party, haven't you? Me? I don't think so. Be the person Kim Kitsuragi believes you can be. Exactly. Oh, I'm kidding. Okay. I was like, House Party. I'm not sure what that is. You're embarrassed about Steam. Oh, right. Yeah, there's like a ton of porn games. No, there's just a lot of games. There's just like, my account has just too many games. It's just too many. And so I'm a little embarrassed to show that. But I can pull it up on my phone. Because the other thing too is like, when I think of my favorite game stories, it's ones that like I've told myself, like when playing RimWorld, right? Like one of my favorite video game characters is this woman character that I started in RimWorld, where she was like, I was just randomly rolling through the stats of the game, because in RimWorld they have various statistics, right? So like they're good at shooting, but they're bad at cooking, and they're they can be a doctor, but and then they also have these sub traits which are like they're sexist, they're a drug addict, they're a good lover, like they're just various things. And this woman that I randomly rolled, she was a misandrist. And I was like, ooh, that's interesting. So, because she's going down to the planet by herself in this particular playthrough, right? And I swear to God, I'm not kidding. Like, I sometimes I think that the AI in that game is a genius, because she's a misandrist. She builds her own house, like her own little cabin on the RimWorld. And then without fail, this group of slavers come through, and they're selling slaves. And because the other thing about her was that she hated slavery. So she's a misandrist and she hated slavery, right? So this group of slavers come by, and they have 2 male slaves that they're selling. One's like an old guy and one's a young guy. And she buys one, and then frees him immediately, right? She buys the young one because the old one, I think there was something, I can't remember, there was something weird about him, but the young one, he was like 19, and so she buys him and frees him, and he sleeps outside at first, but then she eventually like expands her house and builds a room for him, and like, I mean, it was like a beautiful and heartbreaking story about like these two, because then he tries to sleep with her and she's like, what are you doing? And then she's out hunting one day and she gets run down by a herd of what are called muffalo in the game. They're like buffalo. They're kind of, I don't know exactly how you would describe them, but they're like these huge animals. And while she's hunting, she gets run down by one and she is dying. And the former slave boy, runs out and tries to save her. And then he gets run down by the same herd, which are still stampeding through the area. Like, he's carrying her back to her bed so that he can administer first aid. He gets run down by this herd of muffalo, and then they're both laying on the ground dying, and their blood is mixing together, and then they both died, and the game ended, and the story was over. And I was like, this is the most beautiful story I've ever seen in a video game. Not one word of authored content in that. That was all through apophia, right? That was all through my interpretation of the physical events taking place in the story. Because the game is ignorant. It doesn't know that it showed me two male, right? I filled in that detail in my mind, right? I wrote that story in my mind. But this story wouldn't work in print. You know what I mean? It would be tacky and weird. It'd be like, and their blood mixed together, right? Well, actually, maybe this story would work in print. It might. But in my mind, like, the story is the story that comes from a game shows the power of game narrative potential if it's done right. Like, because this entire narrative came from my self-discovery of these characters, just watching them do their thing and, like, you know, kind of nudging them in directions, right? It's like, okay, well, we need to build a refrigerator. So, like, build a refrigerator. It's ultimately just, humans are such incredible pattern recognition machines that, like, me watching the events unfold, I am just naturally filling in the details, right? So, like, when the two slaves showed up and she frees one, in my mind, and I'm sure you thought about this too, like, why did she free the young one? Well, probably because it was in my mind, it was like, well, she wants one that can help work, right? And by freeing him, she kind of satisfies this innate need to be against slavery, but she also gets a helper, like a useful helper. And so it's like this kind of shitty but good, you know, package that she's doing. And so it deepens her character, and there's no authored content in that. You know what I mean? Like, there's no author saying this is why she's a complex and deep character, because she did this for these two reasons. It's just the thing happened, and then the human goes, this character's deep and complex. And that, to me, is just, you should watch Tynan Sylvester's GDC talk on it on RimWorld. I think it's one of the better video game talks, where he talks about, like, the development of it and what he was intending to do in building it, and why I think it vastly and exceeds all the things that he was intending to do. I think RimWorld is brilliant. Like, I can name 5 characters from my playthroughs in RimWorld that are more memorable to me than most narrated protagonists, most authored protagonists, right? Even in an authored work, I don't want to dictate my story to the audience. I want to trick the audience into telling themselves my story. That's exactly what you want. That is like copy and paste that and put it in a sticky note and save it, because that's exactly what you're trying to do. Like, that is the author's job, right? This is why I always say, no matter what, a novel and football are the same thing. They're the same thing, right? They're both on the same spectrum. A novel has very little interaction. Football is all interaction, right? But they're on the same spectrum. An author is constructing a game, right? It's a linear game, but it is a game. A novel is a game. And what you're trying to do is get the audience to play your game, right? And the way you do that is not dictating the story, like you said, or, well, I mean, you said what you want to do is trick the audience into telling themselves the story, right? That's what that is. The entire goal of a novel is giving the audience enough of a reason to turn the pages, right, or click through or whatever. So yeah, that's very astute. Who has played Yume Nikki? Not I. I haven't heard of it. I'm sorry. I guess I'm just kind of a Western guy. Not the genre, the hemisphere. There's no dialogue in that. Oh, interesting. So it's a narrative based game with no dialogue. Is that what I'm understanding? So yeah. I mean, I feel like I talk about a lot of the same games over and over again, but that's because like I just played a lot of games. Like I've played tons and tons of games. The game graveyard of my life is huge. Because I get into a game and I'm like, I hope the characters are good, and then I'm like, bah. Just trying to do too much or not doing enough, right? Like it's just they never seem to find that happy middle ground. Alloy, too much. Or Aloy, whatever. Too much. They tried too hard to make her likable. I was thinking about projection recently. In what capacity? On okay, so let's actually play the game that we're streaming. Charlie runs the Minicom network. Map of Updam. Explore the complex. Complex has a loop control center. Sounds fancy and useful. Sorry, whenever I get on a soapbox and I can't, I get really afraid to step down. I look down and I'm like, ooh, it's a foot off the ground. I might fall. I don't mind games and shows that have a lot of ambiguity, but it's annoying when it depends too much on projection. Can you define projection? And like, what exactly do you mean by that? Like the audience projection? Because I think I agree, but I wanted to check. A lot of the story ends up being just what the audience fills in. Yeah, like I will say that yes, there is especially in like films and books where it's like, so what the hell happened in that movie? And they're like, you figure it out, man. Like that's something that I'm not a big fan of, right? And this is why I'm saying that like there needs to be a happy medium, a happy middle ground where like you can't have too much. You can't overtell your story, because overtelling your story is what like my fellow MFAs did, where they're like they want to make sure that like everything is perfect, and so the story feels like you're reading like this sterile kind of shitty, boring thing. You know what I mean? And then there's the other side where it's like, you know, like randomly typing words and then saying there's a story in there, man, you just gotta like you figure it out, like that and that's not good either. You need to have like a little bit of both. You have to be a person who wants to tell a story, But you also have to be the type of person who understands that overtelling a story is not a good thing. Then you fall in love with a character that other fans hate, and you end up spending more time arguing with them than just consuming it. Yeah, I don't. For whatever reason, I just don't do that. I don't think it's just not my thing. Like, I don't really like arguing about fiction. Like particular, like I'm not like, oh, Cersei, you know, like Cersei actually, her politics are, you know, like that's not something I'll ever do. I see why people do it, but it's not something I do. But yeah, so like, however, I think games are uniquely adept at filling in narrative gaps where authors would need to do it with authored content. Video games can do it with mechanic. It just depends. It depends on how well thought out these mechanics are, right? Like in RimWorld, the randomly selected traits and pitfalls and stats, these are all combined into a character that you just kind of understand, right? And because they also do like really interesting things where like, I should just play RimWorld again, but like every character has a backstory and a current story, right? So backstory is like political slave or something. It's like, what the hell does political slave mean? You kind of just think about it. You're like, political slave? What was a political slave? And then current story is like author. And you're like, author? They were a political slave and now they're an author. And they're really good at shooting and cooking. What? That's weird. And then you just like, you naturally just build this character out in your mind as the story goes on, where it's like, like everything gets informed by these two things. And then like, you know, they're an addict, but they're compassionate. So it's like a compassionate addict who was a political slave and is now an author. And they're good at shooting and cooking. And it's such an interesting thing. So it's like Lost. I guess it just shines a light on how much of it is left to subjective projection. What is it? Lost RimWorld is? And the TV show? I just want to make sure that we're all on the same page here. No future. No what looks like Russian words. Interesting. So I can go this way or I can go this way. Well, I'm going to go this way. Don't need Fia to get high. What does that mean? I'm sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. Okay, it said deep water kills, and that looked like deep water. Oh. Interesting. Not this way, not this time. You love the low road. These little words are one of the more interesting things to me in this game. Oh, he's a shiny guy. Oh. Is there something I can, like, throw? This game is such a unique combination of things. Yeah, that's kind of how like the reviewers have been describing it, and it's also so far my experience of just like, it's a spy narrative, but it has like weird magic, and like it's an immersive sim, but it's multiplayer. You know, like it's okay. So what's over there? Ah, an empty box. Okay. No. Oh shit. I mean that when it's too naturalistic and fans spend so much time imbuing the narrative with their own biases, it feels like the story isn't that solid. It's also a problem with David Lynch fans who just want it to mean what they feel like rather than trying to figure it out together. Yeah, it is part of the problem. I mean, I think I might be in the camp of like, there is one meaning, but your own meaning is also okay. Okay, let's walk this way, and then this way. Ugh, I feel like this is a mistake. Oh, I didn't even know that gun was an option. Everything's below. No time for a swim. What the hell was that? I always play these games stealthy, and I just wish I didn't. I need to go this way. Oh, I forgot I can do this. Go around. Shoot them all. Sniper boy. Pistol boy. Runner and gunner unaware. Oh no. Don't come any closer. Shit. Machete guy. Pistol person. Oh. Sniper person. I'm just wondering exactly how the time passage mechanic works. Like, does it only pass when I switch regions? I think so. I think most narratives have a single, most justified interpretation, although sometimes that interpretation isn't one that the author intended. Yeah, I think I would agree with that. Can I move the body? No, it just vanishes. Oh yeah, why do the bodies vanish? That's one of the things I find interesting. Oh. What? Sometimes it's easier to avoid a fight than start one. Creeper on black roof. Yeah, thanks. I'm aware. Ow, dude. Oh, this gun isn't very good. You die that fast? You die very fast in this game. Oh no. I'm gonna have to get better. That's not good. I only have 2 left. What? How are they already discovering me? Okay, I'm pretty sure I can't get through there. Wary. Why are they wary? Okay, we're gonna hang out up here for a second. What is that? Why is that? Do I get my life back if I go in there? Interesting. Fish. God, I wish I could save scum. Pow. Just want to see what happens. Oh, I'm not even holding a rifle. Okay, well, I have to get over there because I have to see what happens if I get back to my body, if it's like a Souls mechanic. Okay, nothing happens. Cool. But I'm glad I saw it. It's interesting. Okay, now we go down this. We climb back up here. And we watch from the shadows. This gun only having one round is shit. This is not working how I thought it was going to. Shit. I don't want to go back. God, does a well-placed headshot work? Yes. Okay, so this gun is like effectively silenced. So it's incredibly valuable. Jump. Oh. Jesus. That was fucking scary. Oh. I told you. I'm sneaky, and then I turn a corner and there's two guys and they're like, there's a guy right there. It happens every fucking time I play any of these games. Okay, I'm assuming these guys are like strong, so I suppose I could be wrong, but that's a cool reload animation. Out of control, out of control, out of control, out of control. No off button. Dating sims often fail to address how vulgar and arbitrary people are. This is not relevant to this game and no one asked. Okay. I just understood what you were saying. Okay, it looks like that guy's over there. Which means gotta be another way. What do you mean? This is the perfect way. Kill her. Kill him. Done. Ooh. Oh. It doesn't though. It triggers an alarm or something. For some reason I have a battery. Okay, I'm assuming that this is going to be teaching me things. Not the credit he deserves. He knows things, not the credit he deserves. Dating sims are very escapist, right? They're very much escapist fiction, 100%. In a way, like, I don't mean this to be necessarily negative, but dating sims remind me of porn quite a bit. And I don't mean like I don't mean that to be super negative, but they are very reminiscent of pornography. What in the world? Okay, I'm assuming this is something that will be meaningful later. Munition station. Okay. Interesting. Exit is this way. Whoa. What's the briefcase? Oh, it's a turret. Oh, interesting. Did I drop it? Can I carry it in my other hand? Oops. Oh, I can't go that way. No, no. You didn't see anything. The NPCs are puppets you manipulate. Yeah. Which it does feel a little catty and not very nice, right? Okay. What do I do? Because that way was just ice. Is there another way out of here? Maybe I could go... Damn. This feels like I'm making a mistake. Shut this place down and leave it shut. I don't give a shit about Wenji's Horizon obsession. If Colt gets in here, the party's over. You don't want to go back to the station. Stay sealed. It's a power station. There's an old power station beneath the loop control center. Holy shit. Hello. Where the hell did he go? Am I out of ammo on my... No, I'm not. Badoom tish. As in lots of dating. Okay. The music's really cool in this game. I'm just wondering, maybe I could like throw this turret and then... Oops. What the fuck? Holy shit. I'm gonna die. Turret plan is out. Kill things with big gun is in. Okay, where's my turret? What happened to my turret? Oh, there it is. I'm so terrible at aiming. God, I wish I could carry this in my other hand, because it means I have to shoot with right click. Oh, I know where I am. That's funny. Not this way. Yeah, okay. I won't go that way then. Oh. Okay, this is easy. I don't even need the turret. I'm gonna carry it with me, but I don't need it. I can just get out of here. Because there's two guys up there. Autofill. Neat. Yeah, let's build a string. God, this game is super interesting. Like, super interesting. The not this way is a lie, you think? You think, like, I walk through there and it's like the little preen and confetti, and then, like, you figured it out. You just pull this lever, everything dies. Loop broken. That would actually be really funny if that was the case. Eternalist gunned you down. Yeah, I know. Because I didn't realize that you have like 3 shots of health. There's an old power station beneath the loop center. Juliana doesn't want me to get in the power station, which means there's something she doesn't want me to see. Igor Serling desperately wants credit for founding the Eon program. So this is the loop control center. Don't suppose it has an off switch. Reactivate the device. The machine seems important, but some jackass drained the battery. So yeah, so time only passes when you change region, which is kind of interesting. So there's an old power station, But what is my goal now? The leads are the most important information on Black Reef, the keys to defeating the visionaries and breaking the loop. Each lead offers step-by-step instructions for overcoming your enemies. Cult retains the discoveries within leads across loops. By selecting a lead, you activate markers leading to your objective and additional guidance on the mission select screen. Search the security office. The LPP thing sounds useful. It's in the Eon program security office on Firstad Rock. Okay. Interesting. So I have to take my dog out, and this kind of seems like a good place to stop anyway. But yeah, so I don't know. Deathloop seems like a very interesting game. Like, very interesting. I thought it was going to be like an open world, like fully open world, like all the time open world, not kind of these like pockets of open world, which I think is because I thought that how it worked was like the game would start and it was like you have to kill these 8 targets before the day is over, right? You have 24 hours, and 24 hours is like 2 hours in a. I thought it was gonna be more roguelite, I guess. And then at the same time you spawn, Juliana spawns, and Juliana is controlled by another player, and she has to find you, right? But it's not really how it works, which I think is interesting. And it also makes sense because, I mean, that game would be the game that I'm thinking of seems borderline impossible to make. But yeah, so the dog has to poop, and I should probably work on some other stuff because the game jam is. Oh yeah, the game jam. Game jam is now over. People are presumably playing each other's games. And so this coming Thursday, this was a bonus stream anyway. This coming Thursday, I'm going to be streaming the first part of the games. Yeah. So I think that this is where we say goodbye for now. Although I'll be in the Discord and I'll be talking to everybody as usual. So I hope you all have a good day. Deathloop seems cool. So if you have a machine that can run it, it worked just fine on my 1080. People have been reporting like lots of stuttering and problems and stuff, but it worked fine on my 1080. So, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm glad that the discussion was fruitful for people. And yeah, I will see you all soon. Goodbye. And yeah, good chat. See you later, Dave and Rinzai.